Good at 9.
Good evening. Breaking tonight, President Donald Trump posting on Truth Social that he will terminate the temporary protected status for Somalis in Minnesota. In his post, he says the reason is, quote, Minnesota, under Governor Walz, is a hub of fraudulent money laundering activity. I am, as the President of the United States, hereby terminating, effective immediately, the temporary protected status, TPS program, for Somalis in Minnesota. Somali gangs are terrorizing the people of that great state, and billions of dollars are missing. Send them back to where they came from. It's over, President DJT, end quote. Now, we have reached out to Governor Tim Walz for a comment, but have not heard back tonight. Somalia's protective status currently runs through March 2026. Now, tonight, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar responding to Trump's post on Twitter, saying, I am a citizen and so are majority of Somalis in America. Good luck celebrating a policy change that really doesn't have much impact on the Somalis you love to hate. We are here to stay. Also breaking tonight, U.S. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene says she will be resigning from Congress.
So basically what this means is that temporary protective status allowed for them to really be here in the United States of America without any kind of problem, any kind of accountability, unfettered access. And a lot of them came in under temporary protective status, which then allowed for them to also transition over into being citizens of the United States of America. And now what you see over in Minneapolis, which I didn't know that prior to actually visiting Minneapolis. When I visited Minneapolis, and I went there actually for two reasons. One, because I had never been there before. And two, we chose to go there because I had never been there before, and my daughter wound up having a Taekwondo tournament. And so we went in the summer because I know that it's really cold, and I learned a lot about Minneapolis, one of which I learned that all of the buildings downtown is really connected, and you can get around almost every building downtown because it gets so cold in the wintertime. The second thing that I learned, which I didn't know at the time, and this was actually before 2020, and I'm not sure what year exactly, had to be 2016, 15, something like that, was that the Somali population was booming. The way that the Arab and the Chaldean population operates over in Dearborn, Michigan, is the way that the Somalis, probably a lot more, over in Minneapolis, and it's a much bigger city than Dearborn. And so they started taking over everything. They started taking over government. They started trying to run for mayor. They started trying to take over city council positions. And now it is a booming Minneapolis Somali population. And what I've learned subsequently is that they actually came in, most of them under temporary protective status. Now, the Biden administration never stopped it, right? They just let it keep running and let it keep running. And it came to a head when you started to see what was happening during the pandemic and after the pandemic, in which Biden was letting everybody and their mama in under the United States of America. Right. And so one of the reasons that they say it's a money laundering issue is that they send a lot of money back home. So they come over here to take advantage of American taxpayer dollars and to take advantage of the infrastructure that we built here in America. And they capitalize off of it, and then they send it back home. And so that's pretty much the general idea. And it's pretty disrespectful for Ilhan Omar to say what she says. And she's allegedly rich as hell, according to her latest filing from the person that she's married. It's pretty disingenuous, and it's pretty ignorant of her to say that, well, most of us is citizens now, and it's not going to affect what we got going on. So ha, 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 ha. It's very, very disrespectful, but, you know, that's just the way that it goes. And you know, there's no appreciation and there's no thank you. There's no honoring of the American flag. It's just pure disrespect towards America and our flag itself. And then she has the nerve to actually hold government office.
Breaking news out of Washington and a big announcement from President Trump about Somalis living in Minnesota.
Tonight, the president posted on Truth Social, quote, I am, as president of the United States, hereby terminating, effective immediately, the temporary protected status for Somalis in Minnesota. Somali gangs are terrorizing the people of that great state, and billions of dollars are missing. Send them back to where they came from, end quote. Now, we're working to learn the legality of the president's plan and the potential impact.
We know Minnesota has the largest Somali population in the United States, with the last estimate by Minnesota Compass at more than 79,000 people. Callum Gray is working on this in the newsroom, and Callum, reaction is coming in fast tonight.
That's right.
Has to be more than that. Has to be more than that.
Just in the last hour, Governor Walz responding, saying, quote, "It is not surprising the president has chosen to broadly target an entire community. This is what he does to change the subject," end quote. Congressmember Ilhan Omar also pushing back, posted on X, quote, "I am a citizen and so are majority of Somalis in America. Good luck celebrating a policy change that really doesn't have much impact on the Somalis you love to hate. We are here to stay." According to National Immigration Forum, as of October, there were 705 people from Somalia in the U.S. with TPS, and we're working to get the total count here in Minnesota. Temporary protected status is meant for those whose home countries are experiencing civil unrest, violence, or natural disasters. Somali immigrants have been eligible since 1991. The Department of Homeland Security says this was most recently extended through March of next year. Homeland Security has the discretion to designate a country for TPS for periods of 6 to 18 months and can extend it if the country continues to meet the conditions for designation. I just spoke with Julia Decker with the Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota. She explained typically TPS terminations have to be posted on the Federal Register before the date the country's designation is set to expire.
It's amazing how we have so many laws and things on the books that's just continuing to be renewed. It's not re-reviewed. It's not, you don't go back and say, well, is this something that we still need? Are they still under duress? Have they been adding value into the United States of America? We don't have those conversations at all. The only thing that we do is we just continue to renew the thing that we've been doing for a long time. Just because we've been doing it for a long time, we don't actually go through and vet the process.
I just checked Homeland Security's website in the last few minutes, and Somalia is still listed. Decker also explained this is not done state by state, so the federal government will have to end TPS for all Somali immigrants, not just those here in Minnesota. The Minnesota chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations tonight says this will tear families apart, calling it a political attack based on hateful rhetoric and urging the president to reverse the decision. But Republicans are praising the announcement. Republican State House Speaker Lisa Dameth, who is running for governor, shared the president's post saying, quote, "President Trump is right. Fraud is out of control and unacceptable." Going on to say anyone involved in these criminal activities should be swiftly deported if they are not lawfully present in the U.S. Republican House Majority Whip Tom Emmer tonight thanked the president. Kevin.
Okay, that's Callum Gray. Now, Minnesota's Republican delegation in Congress, including Tom Emmer, shared a letter with us that they just sent to U.S. Attorney for Minnesota Daniel Rosen. And in this letter, they're asking for an investigation into Governor Walz's, quote, inaction and improper handling of fraud.
They're also asking.
There is a lot of fraud that is happening in these Democrat-led states. Even here in Michigan, right? One of the biggest things that's happening here in Michigan is there's a huge conversation around where our taxpayer dollars have been going. Billions of dollars have been misappropriated, can't be accounted for spending. Gretchen Whitmer is kind of under fire right now. And I think that transition will happen once you see this new governor's race. And then last but not least, it's a lot of conversations around who's getting the incentives to build what businesses, and is that an unfair practice and unfair treatment. I'm not as familiar about Minneapolis and Minnesota and how Tim Walz is governing as far as the fraud and the abuse and the waste. I think that every government entity needs to be audited at least once every 2 years or once every regime change so that we can know where we stand and know what's happening inside of the United States of America. But I'll keep you guys in the loop on what's going on over there. Make sure you tap into the Patreon link is in the description. Teach Hanley 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Love you. I appreciate you. I'll holler at you guys later. Peace.